Where is a good place to catch a really big bass? Don't one of y'all say, in the water, Jimmy, you dubby. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another spectacular fall day. I'm telling you, fall fishing can be difficult, and you can figure what's exactly what we're getting ready to do is go out here and go fishing, and hopefully we'll catch a few fish and be able to show you some of this on a YouTube video. But I'm telling you, the fall of the year is so spectacular, so spectacular. This is a day after a cold front right here. We had a cold front come here. It was 50-mile-an-hour winds yesterday, but look at it today. Spectacular. It's cool, it's cold, but spectacular, spectacular weather. Unbelievable, unbelievable. October 20, we're looking at Matthew 15:11, and this is Jesus talking. This is Jesus talking right here. It's not what people put in their mouths that makes them unclean. It's what comes out of their mouths that makes them unclean. Now, Jesus was referring to things that you eat. The Jewish customs, of course, the Old Testament, there was things that the Jews were allowed to eat, things that they were not allowed to eat. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, we don't have those restrictions on us nowadays, but they were always trying to trap Jesus into getting him to say something wrong or getting him to do something bad. And it's kind of like what happens in politics right now. They're always trying to trap people into saying something bad. Well, and this was all the way back in the Bible. And but Jesus told them it's not what people put in their mouths that makes them unclean. It's what comes out of their mouths. That's what makes you unclean. Here's what I wrote about that. Have you ever found shad, bluegill, or crawdads in your live well? It's not a very pretty sight. Those are bait fish that bass have spit up. You can see how different they are from where they were just a short time earlier. They've gone from being something really beautiful to something really ugly, and I might add very stinky if you found them in your live well a couple of days later. And let me throw something in there right now. Those of you that fish tournaments, if you fish tournaments, before you weigh your fish in, before you go to the scales with your fish, always check your live well and see if there's any of this in there. Maybe a bluegill or a shad or a crawfish that bass that you caught has spit up in your live well, because that is legal to weigh in. Now, you can't take one that you had in there already or something, put it in a fish, but if it spit the fish up, if it had it in and spit it up in your live well, you can weigh it in. Sometimes it might be an ounce or two, and I've lost thousands of dollars. I don't know. I can think just right off the top of my head, two $10,000 checks that I lost at Lake Okeechobee by 1 ounce. Well, one I lost a $10,000 check. One I went from 10,000 down to 4,000. So just 1 ounce. So check your live well before you go to the weigh-in scales. All right, we spit out a lot of bad stuff in our lives too. Things like gossip, backbiting, lying, malice. God knows that the bad things that come out of our mouth can really cause us trouble. When we get mad or jealous or envious, we have to say things that we don't really mean and for which we will later on be ashamed. The most gracious people I know. And that's something to say, that the most gracious people I know. That's something all of us would like for somebody else to say about us, that we're gracious. We have grace in us. We are gracious. That's really the most gracious people I know always seem to pause before they speak. Maybe they're thinking about what they say before they say it instead of after it's already been said. We're all pretty guilty in here most of the time. The old deal that your mom and daddy taught you when you was a little kid, before you say something ugly, count to 10. Most of the times you won't say something ugly if you'll just count to 10. Just count to 10. If you'll just count to 1, 2, 3, or 4 before you say something, and just pause. The most gracious people I know always seem to pause before they speak. This is a good one. I love this one right here. It's not what you put in your mouth that makes you unclean. It's what you spit out of your mouth that makes you unclean. Here's our tip for today. Small bodies of water. That's right. Small bodies of water can produce really big fish. Mostly we're talking about farm ponds in this type of situation. Farm ponds produce a lot of big fish, and one of the reasons that they do, quite honestly, is a lot of them get overpopulated with bass, and sometimes you'll catch bass that are 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 inches long that are maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years old. There's just not enough food in there for them to eat, and so they don't grow very big. And what happens actually is you'll have a few fish in there that get really, really big. I mean 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pounds, and they are living off the smaller bass. That's exactly what they're living off of. So that's one of the things that you might want to think about. If you want to catch a really, really big fish, farm ponds are a great place to do it. Guys and girls, it's going to be a spectacular day. Go out there and have you a great one. Remember, I love you.